Hey, Randall Ellison, how you doing? You can say hello to everyone because I'm the only one here so far. So you and me. Hey, John, how are you doing? Dragon Lover, how's it going? CP368. What's up? John, send me an email. Um, flyingcrow@yahoo.com. And I'll respond back to you after the stream's over. So, Art, how's it going? Fixing lunch. Lunch at 7:30 at night. Where are you in Hawaii? Hey, John, how's it going? John, Grandpa. Just a late lunch, huh? That's funny. There's one, two, three, four, five. I know there's six people in here. My screen's still saying there's only three. So, as you can see over here, where's my hand? Back that way. The sun is setting because you can see my door's open in my garage. Half Johns, that's normal. Yeah, I don't. I think StreamYard takes a while to catch up with the numbers. So, and I don't even see um, like thumbs up. I don't think I even see it on StreamYard. At least I don't know. I haven't brought it up before if it is there. So. Quit muting. I don't know why my mic keeps muting, so that's crazy. I always have problems with live streams for some reason. And I'm plugged in, so I shouldn't be losing a signal. Yeah, that's what I see, 7 now on board. So anyway, the only thing I was doing tonight, I was doing some more number boards for my bicentennial unit. I finally got the sound decoder in my bicentennial unit, and so I wanted to go ahead and get it all finished. You know, I got all the handrails back on. Quit muting. I got all my handrails back on my bicentennial unit, so I wanted to and I got my sound decoder on it finally, so I wanted to get the windows and the number boards done. That's the only thing I have left. The windows are kind of strange. The windows are kind of strange. This isn't. No, they're black. The they just sit in there. There's not like, you know, most models have a a strip of number boards that go in, and I'm sorry, a strip of windows that go in, and they just push in. But these Athearn ready to run, they just have individual windows, and I'm trying to figure out. And I can kind of push them in there, but they don't stay in there, so I don't know what to do with it. And of course, I had to take it out to paint it, but so we'll see. I know I can get the number boards are the same way. They just kind of push in there. They're just the right size, so I don't know. I have to see what happens. So you know, if you want your number boards lighted up, you've got to do it with decals. You can't do it with paint, unfortunately, because the paint won't shine through. So, or the light won't shine through the paint. So I was in the middle of doing that, and you know what? Let me change my camera. I was going to try to use my good camera, and it's got a loose connection in it. So for some reason, that loose connection won't, just it keeps cutting in and out. So I'm going to add this other camera into it, which isn't as good, but it works. All right. Now, John, I have made some decals. I did for that wood chip hopper I just did. I made the decals for it, and they came out fine. One thing I have found though, and if you print your own decals, hey Shay, if you print your own decals, like on a laser printer or an inkjet printer, reds and yellows. Hey, Jerry, reds and yellows won't print with enough color so that they can be seen once you apply them. They're too translucent. So you have to have a special process. Like Circus City decals has a process where they print white first and then like yellow or red over that white. So they're fine. Microscale for red and yellow stuff, they screen print. So there's no problem there. But if you're just printing on a laser printer or an inkjet printer, red and yellows don't work. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to pretty much renumber everything. You hear me? Martin says he hears me on his phone and sees you on tablets and they're not in sync. I wouldn't think they are. Latency is a problem with any computer. So if you do print your own decals, remember reds and yellows aren't going to work. So on a laser or an inkjet printer. So what I've done is I'm actually using two different sheets here. This is micro scale 87,793. And they're just number boards, mainly for F7s. But what I'm doing is I'm using the black background. And that's what I'm using first on the number boards. And then I'm just going to put white numbers on top of it. So here's the number board. I don't know how well you can see that. So this is just a piece of clear plastic that Athearn provides if you order it from them. What I did is I coated it with gloss coat first. You have to coat it with something for the decal to stick to it. Okay, it's not going to stick well to plain plastic. Hey, Jason, how's it going? So decals don't stick to just plain plastic. You got to coat it with something. And since I want light to shine through, gloss coat or dull coat were the only two options. So, and of course, decals stick better to gloss coat, so that's why I use gloss coat. So I coated it with gloss coat, and then I cut out the black strip that goes on the number boards and just put it on there. So, and I did the gloss coat last night, so it's had 24 hours to dry. So I always, when I gloss coat, I wait a minimum of 24 hours. All right, so the next thing I need to do, and I hope I brought them out here because I thought I did. I thought I picked them up. Of course, that doesn't mean anything when I think I picked something up. I could have set it down and forgot it. Oh, no, it's right in front of me. See, that's what happens when you get old. So my solve set, and you can use solve a set or you can use the micro sol and micro set. The only difference is this is full strength and this is 60% solve a set. So that's the only difference. And that's micro sol and micro set's the same way. They're the same stuff. One's just yes, that's right, Jason. Gloss is smoother than dull coat. Absolutely. Microsol and microset are the same stuff. One's just diluted. So, and it's the same with Solvaset. If I were you, I would get a diluted version, which I do. I had a bottle that was almost empty, so I filled it up a little over halfway, and then the rest of the way with water. And now, so this is 60%, and then this is full strength. I'm going to use, because this is just black, I'm going to use, I'm just going to use the full strength stuff right now. And what happens when you use Solvaset is, first I put the black on and I've let it dry about 30 minutes, let the water evaporate. When you put Solvaset on, Decals will wrinkle, okay, because they're softening. Leave them alone. Let them wrinkle up and do what they need to do. Okay? You don't have to smooth them out. In fact, you should not smooth them out. They will wrinkle. Just remember that. So don't touch them, let them wrinkle. And even on a smooth surface, they're going to do that. But especially if you've got, turn my camera a little bit, get out of the sun. But yep, they do rip if you try to smooth them out. So just don't touch them. Once you put the stuff on there, let them alone, let them dry. Okay. And it doesn't take long fully to dry. It takes about maybe a half hour. So even if you're impatient, it's not too bad. So when I put the numbers on, though, what I'm going to do with the numbers, because you've got thin lines on the numbers, I'm going to use the 60% stuff first. Okay, and so that won't, because when you've got real thin lines on a decal, the full strength stuff, they'll really rip and tear a lot of times. So I use this diluted stuff first, and then after it dries, go back in and use the full strength. So we can wait a little while for these to, being that they're so small, they're not even half hour. So let's see. Did I miss anybody? Steve 87. How's it going? You should just asterisk. What? Okay. And all you do is wait and let this, let the Solvaset or Microsol or Microset, whatever you're using, just let it evaporate. That's all you do. Yeah, John, that's what I did. I took it. Let me put it up there. All I did was put a solid black decal on the number board. That's all that's there. So once it dries, I'm going to put the numbers on. So unfortunately, I do not have the numbers. No. So I got these from Athearn, and they were just clear pieces of plastic cut to size. That's all they are. Like I said, I gloss coated it. I just put a black background decal on it. And you could use any black decal. It doesn't have to be the number board decals. If you've got a black decal, any decal is gonna let light shine through. So like I said, I just put the black decal on the back of it, and that's all I did. I put the Solvaset on. We're waiting for the Solvaset to dry, and then once it dries, I'm going to put the numbers on. So, yeah, you can, if you want to, you can put the you can take the numbers off of the Athearn ones. They just come off fairly easily. Enamel thinner, acetone, anything, you'll just wipe, and you'll end up with a clear piece of plastic. So these happen to be directly from Athearn, and because I ordered them from them, and they're just plain, so they're just plain pieces of plastic. So Yeah, I know. When you're in N scale, I'm sure it's a lot tougher to put. I mean, it's hard to put these decals on when you're in HO. I can imagine what it'd be like in N scale. So what I'm going to do when just a few minutes when we're ready, I've got this sheet of KCS decals from Microscale also. So 87-146, you can see them, and they have a bunch of white numbers down there. So I'm just going to put that over top of the black. But like I was saying, I don't have any. The numbers I need aren't sequential on my sheet, so. Yeah, Joe, I guess you could do that. I've never tried that. Right and left side numbers don't really have to match. Yeah, hopefully they do. I guess you could put rub on numbers on top of the black. I would find that getting them. I would find that harder to line up. You doing rub-ons than I would just putting a decal on. So, Wilmer, what's going on? Yeah, so that's true, Dave. I guess you could run it. It's hard to do that with number boards though, because if number boards were just on each side of the cab, that wouldn't be too bad. But being as they're right together in the front, it would be kind of hard to have two different numbers on the number boards. So. Well, like I said, the only thing I've got left are the windows and the number boards, and then I can put the shell back on. I already have the decoder put in. So. Yeah, I would, John. It'd be crazy for trying to program it in DCC since you can only have one number. Yeah, I applaud you in scale guys, because I don't have the eyes or the hands to do it. Installing decoders or tiny decals. I mean, think about it. And Wilmer, I know you'll appreciate this. So you see the F up front on the rail there. I imagine trying to put that little F, since it's half the size in N scale. I don't know how you do it. Or maybe you just leave it off. I don't know. Yeah, John, I keep saying I'm going to do G scale or something like that. Yeah, if I can switch to G scale, I might be able to see what I'm doing without a visor. Either that or 1-to-1 scale. Yeah, just buy a full-size locomotive. It's warm out here in my garage. I don't have an air conditioner out here, but it's not too bad. I'm used to it. So you can see these are just about dry now. I don't know how well you can tell it. And that's a little piece of flash up top, so that's why it looks like it's not covered, but it is. But that's It's about dry. I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes, and then I'll start putting the numbers on. I wanted to give it a coat of Solvaset first before I put the numbers on, because I didn't want when I put the numbers on with water, I didn't want it loosening up the black background that I already have. So. You did. So Wilmer just explained about the F on the front of the locomotives. That's good. Yep, Jason, it is a little warm here, but I don't mind. Temperature doesn't bother me significantly, cold or hot. So, hey, Dwayne, how's it going? Yeah, Dave, 1-to-1 scale does get hard to carry around. And the decoders you got to put in them are huge. Just think about that. Wow, Randall. Truck drove into the side of a train. Derailed it into a second train. Wow. So John, Elsa hit you, huh? How about that? Hope you didn't get too bad of weather. Yep, those are drying in this warm weather. These are drying pretty quickly. Yeah, I know, Jason. That's how it gets. It gets steamy after it rains for about 15 minutes, you know. Yeah, and I always say too, when now there are some KS decals that are already on black, so you can cut out the numbers and put on the number board. The problem with some of those sometimes is no matter how good you are, there's going to be seams in between the numbers where the light shines through. So that's why I just put on a solid black piece before I did the numbers. So either way will work. In fact, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to look at my other decal sets and see if they are together. As you can tell, I buy a lot of decals. So. Because when you have to paint most of your own engines, that's what happens. Here we go. Because I do have several of the same thing. Oh, that's great art. It's in the 80s. Dave was 111. That's warm. So I have this set of decals from Microscale, and you can see that they're on black, but once again, there's no sequential numbers on there, so I would have to cut them out anyway in individual numbers. So it's always the problem. And then I have this set of just number board decals, once again, from Microscale. So, yeah, you got a lot of options. The problem is with these number board decals are the numbers are clear actually on a black background. So, so since I put a black background already, I can't use those. So I will use one of my KCS sets. I just haven't decided which one yet. It would be nice if I had some sequential numbers, but I don't. Well, you know what I do on this set? I have two of them. So maybe I might use the ones from here. So the number is going to be 642. And I actually on this set have a 6 and a 4 together. So that'll take care of a lot of the problem. So I think I'm going to do that. Use the 6 and the 4 together. Yeah. Decisions, I know. But I am going to be able to use the 6 and the 4 together. But to cut them, I don't, I don't care how good your eyesight is. If I were you, I would always use a visor to cut. That makes especially if you're using an X-Acto knife like I am. There we go. Now, luckily, I don't have to worry about trimming it exactly because I've got a black background on it. So that's going to work to my advantage here. All right. Now if I can get it turned over. Okay. I've got a little thing I didn't clean off very well off of it. Okay, so when you're soaking towels, just drop it in the water for about 30 seconds and then pull it out, let it sit on the paper towel and let it, once it sits on the paper towel, it can, the water can soak in real good until it slides freely off of the backing. I'm going to switch cameras. Oh, how about that? So you can kind of see what I'm doing. Maybe you can or maybe you can't. I don't know how close that is. So and what I do is I wet the number board a little bit. You're working with these tiny decals. Sometimes it's not. They don't want to cooperate. All right, let's see if I can move it onto the number board. There we go. And if you need to, you can just dab a little water on it so you can still slide it around to get it into position till it gets straight. There we go. Hi, James. How's it going? All right, so let me get the 2 cut out. Now this one's going to be even more fun since it's just a single number. Okay, where did it go? I love that when you cut something out and it just flies away. It's gone. This is when you're glad to have an extra decal sheet. Because that was the only two I had left of that size. Okay. Whew. Now these you don't want to let soak too long, because if you do, they'll come off too easily. And then they'll come off when you're trying to pick them up out of the water. And it's not something you want to happen. Like I said, just soak it long enough to get it good and saturated with water, and then you can set it on your paper towel to dry a second, or to loosen up. Hey Larry, how's it going? Yeah, that's why I've got my visor on. All right, let me see here. Problem with these numbers is you got to get them absolutely straight, or they look funny. There we go. Now I'm just going to let that one dry a little bit, and then use my Salva set on it. Okay, there goes the 6-4. Good night, William. I said I just soaked it for about, so how long? Oh, this one came loose real easily. Problem is, these things want to stick everywhere but where they're supposed to stick. All right. That looks pretty good. Now let me get my number 2. Let me tell my wife I'm on a live stream. I'm doing a live stream.
What?
I'm doing a live stream. Yes. So I wanted my wife to know that. Because she didn't know, because she was gone. She was out shopping somewhere, spending money.
Do you need the fan?
She's asking me if I need the fan, and I think I am going to do that. But I'll try not to let the fan blow. Blow into the microphone. All right. So that 2 came off easily as well. What I like to do is this little toothpick is use a toothpick and get a drop of water on the end of it. That where I'm going to position the decal. If I can get it up there. I might need 2 things. Yeah. Like I said, these want to stick everywhere but where you want them to. Hey, you guys let me know if the fan gets too loud. I can always rearrange it. There we go. Almost done. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it's close.
hard to do this when your hands aren't that steady. And small decals have a tendency to float around a little bit in the water. Just a hair more. A hair. I do mean a hair. Of course, it's hard to move them that much. Just that little, I mean. There we go. All right. Okay, I'll give them just a minute to dry, and then I'll put the solva set on them. All right, what did I miss? Let me go back up here. Yeah, that's right. They did do that. I remember they just took a couple white KCS units and did just put CP rail on the side of them. But yes, Shay, it is a bad subject. Shay. I might have to have Wilmer put you in timeout. No, luckily my railroad will always be 1976. No matter what, it's going to be 1976 when I go out my train shed. Jason's back, and Jason, we got the number boards, the decals on. So now I'm just going to do the solva set in just a minute. I want to give them a chance just to dry it a little bit, because the solva set, when you brush it on, it'll actually move the decal, and if these decals move, I'm going to be in trouble. No, but I'm not renumbering any of mine or repainting them. They're all, like I said, it's always going to be 1976 when I go out to my train room. So. Yep, Jason, bring your bicentennial units. There were times, when railroads had to share tracks, so it wasn't unusual to see different roads. I remember there was a time in the 70s that a bridge washed out on the Rock Island. So the Rock Island had to use KCS trackage through Minden place, and to get down further south. So yeah, you do. Yeah, I think I couldn't stand to repaint anything anyway. I have to paint so much as it is. KCS accurate depictions of KCS are so few and far between in the modeling world that that I have to paint most of my own stuff. So yeah, that's right, CP. All right, here goes nothing. I'm going to put my 60% solution on, which is just the that'll get it good and stuck down. It won't melt the decals as well as the full strength stuff does. But I always use the diluted stuff first. And I can't remember Microsol. Yeah, I know. Microsol and Microset. Um, which one's the less aggressive one? Maybe one of you guys can tell me. I think the Microset is the less aggressive one. Yeah, I needed to draw some blood, Wilmer. That's all. You know, it's funny, Rock Island. It's just odd that they came down this far. I mean, they went down into central Louisiana, and I'm just surprised at that. They would do that. But they came pretty deep, so I got to get all my decals back in the right envelopes. Yep. And I found out, I was looking through my slicks last night, Jason, and the Rock Island crossed the Louisiana and Arkansas at Stamps. So that's where they crossed. So, James, why was your last decal attempt a fail? Since we're talking about decals, let's figure out why. You know what, Jason? I'm sorry. I did not mean Stamps. I meant I didn't mean Rock Island. I meant the Cotton Belt across the Louisiana and Arkansas at Stamps. I didn't mean Rock Island was on my mind. Sorry. No, that's where the Cotton Belt crossed. Was at Stamps. Wrong temp, could not see them. What I guess I'm yeah. Wrong temp, could not see them. James, I don't know what that means. Oh, so James, It really does. It's better to use warm water. It loosens the glue a little bit better on the decal, but if the water's cool, that shouldn't make a difference. Um, in fact, I mean, maybe if it's ice cold, like if it's ice water, I've never tried that, but normally when I get the water out of the faucet for soaking my decals, I put hot water in there, but it's about 10 minutes and it's completely room temperature. So it's it, the temperature doesn't matter. Like this is just room temperature water now, and it's better to use warm water if you have it, but if it cools off to room temperature, it doesn't. You just have to soak them a little bit longer. That's all. And by a little bit longer, I mean 10 or 15 seconds longer, not 2 or 3 minutes. So you soak them for about 15 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds, and then lay them out on a paper towel, and then just wait till they loosen up, and then slide them off. So I'm waiting just a few more minutes. I'm going to let these set with the diluted Solvaset that I have, and because the diluted Solvaset, all it did was, oh, sorry, I'm using this camera. All it did was get them to kind of set down on the plastic. I can see it doesn't really focus that well up close. So. And then I'm going to go in with the full strength stuff, so it just really melts it into the melts it into the paint. No, John, these Athearn ready to roll actually have solid number boards in the back, and I've already put the numbers on them. So they're just all you do is put the numbers on the number board. That's it. There's no lighting the back ones, unfortunately, which is no big deal because KCS rarely ever lit their back number boards anyway. And because KCS almost exclusively used consist, the number boards, the back number boards don't really matter. So yeah, that's just a feature of the ready to run locomotives that Athearn puts out. So the back lights do light up, which reminds me, I've got to put the lenses in there. I'm glad you asked about that. All right, like I said, the reason I use the diluted stuff is just to get them kind of set. The full strength Solvasets now it's just going to really conform it and make it apart. But if I try to use the full strength stuff first, being that those little numbers are so fragile, they would have moved around, or they would have misshapen a little bit. So that's why I did it like that. Like I say, you can do the same thing with Microsol and Microset. It's the exact same stuff. So, James, I don't blame you. Get trains running. There we go. And like I say, once again, when you use microsol, microset, or solvaset or anything, the decals will wrinkle. Just leave them alone and let them wrinkle. Yeah, James, when you decal, always after the solvaset has dried completely, a gloss coat. Okay, and then if you need to, dull coat on top of that. Putting gloss coat on top of the decals kind of hides the edges a little bit better and makes it blend in more with the rest of the paint job. So always remember gloss coat decals, and then gloss coat again, and then dull coat if you need to dull coat. So these obviously I am going to just gloss coat because they're a number board, they're glass, so I'm not going to dull coat them. In fact, I might, if I get really ambitious, I'm going to put a if I get really ambitious, I'm going to put some clear acetate over the top of them to simulate, because on number boards, the numbers are actually behind the glass. So I'm going to try to simulate that. Shay, no, I don't have them all fixed. I need 4 more for my yard, and then that should be it. What I'm doing now are the crossovers. So I'm putting, I mean, it's overkill, but I'm putting all number 10 switches in for the crossovers. Say it's overkill, but I have the room, so might as well do it. I've got 2 sitting over there I haven't put in, and then I've got to order another 4, and that's it. Yeah, John, if you do have the room, it's best to go with the largest switches you can. But I know it's hard to go with stuff that large. Number 10, even number 8s are kind of hard in the space that most of us have. Art, no, there is no diffuser. I know. There is nothing. The lights are just, I don't know if you can see it. So up in the cab, you can see I've painted black, so it's hard to see it on camera. There's 2 holes up there that I've got some small LEDs to go in there, and those LEDs actually light both the number boards and the headlight. So no, they're just in there. There's no diffuser or anything. The just having the black number boards is enough to make it about the perfect light setting. And of course, with the decoder, you can always dim them a little bit if you need to. So. That's right, Shay. Sorry about that. I'm not going to have any derailments anymore. Yeah, I know, Wilmer. I've got some of this clear acetate somewhere around here that's 5/1000ths of an inch thick. Some of that stuff I bought from Evergreen Plastics, and it's just 5/1000ths of an inch, so it makes a really nice number board. If I have the wherewithal to do it. And I always say, if I put that over the number board, it might, help the number board, if I'm pushing on it, like with my thumbs to get it to set into place, then I don't have to worry about it. And I'll probably use to adhere the number board, to adhere the acetate over the number board, I'll probably use the micro crystal clear stuff. I think that's what it's called, right? Crystal clear. Jason would know. Jason, you were using it for something. Yeah, here it is. This stuff. So you can use this not only to create windows, but you can use it as an adhesive for clear stuff as well. Yeah, it does. It makes real good lenses. I actually used it to make the lenses on my Jeep 9, the classification light lenses. And I did that because I forgot to put the class light lenses in there before I closed it all up. So crystal clear to the rescue. Yeah, James. Well, that's 6.5. That's fine. And if that's what you have room for, and honestly, unless with six axle locomotives, I would not recommend anything less than a number 6. But if you're only using 4 axle locomotives, a number 4 turnout is just sufficient. So, especially the Atlas ones, because they're actually not number 4s, they're 4.5s. So go figure. I don't know why they did that. They call them 4s, but they're 4.5s. So, and that's the Atlas. I forget the name of them. Some Atlas number 4s are 4, but there's an Atlas switch that's actually a 4.5, and I can't remember which one it is. So. Yeah, 5s would probably do it. I think 5 is equal to a 32, about a 32-inch radius. Of course, there's no real radius to a switch, but if you were going to equate it to a radius, I think number 5s are around 32 or something like that. So. Wilmer, it dries clear. So this micro crystal clear stuff dries perfectly clear, and you can use it to make windows actually. So, and that's what I've done with it a lot. I've made windows. Aha! Dead mosquito. That's one dead mosquito, but he had blood in him, so he'd already sucked on me somewhere. Yeah, John, with 40-foot cars, number 4s are more than sufficient for that. But I only go bigger than that just because it, just for the look of them. And the number 10s, crossovers are always a bad place for derailments anyway, so that's why I went to number 10s. Probably way overkill. Number 6s probably could have been just fine, but I did number 10. Number 5s would have been 5. Split Rock, how's it going? Yeah, James, that's right. Yeah, crossovers are a good place for derailment, so use the largest you can on a crossover. But like I said, even anything beyond a number 6 for most people is not necessary. Especially since the number 6 will probably run those 89-foot flat cars just fine. Yeah, we're not, we're not as modelers, of course, aside from the room, we're not worried about derailments like a real railroad is, because first of all, we don't have the weight on the rails. We don't have such narrow flanges as a real train car does. So, like I say, for pretty much everything, number sixes are more than sufficient. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is no derailments, especially if you're doing operations. You don't want to be constantly having to put cars back on the track. That is just a nightmare. Yeah. So you can see my number boards are about dry now. I hope. I hope everything came out. I'm going to switch back to my other camera. There we go. So you see, I don't know how well you can see those. There's my number board. I'm looking, believe it or not. Now it's just now what I gloss coat it first, and if I, like I said, if I have a mind to, I'll put acetate over the top of. So you can see where the number boards fit, and all they do is they just stick in there. They don't. There's nothing behind them. I think it's kind of a poor design myself, but I would rather something solid that you could push in there that would go, be at the correct depth and everything, instead of something that just sits there. So that's the conundrum. How am I going to get them in there just to make them sit at the perfect depth and everything without pushing them too far back or leaving them too far out? There's another type of glue. Let me see if I've got a tube of it here. Maybe y'all can tell me if you've used it. Of course, I'm not going to find it now. It's called something 6000. I thought I had a couple tubes of it. And doesn't seem like No, you know what? I took them out to the train shed. But if y'all know what I'm talking about, I know it's something 6000, like E6000 or something. So, John, acetone will definitely take it off. You just got to be careful with acetone. Some paints don't come off with the background paint will come off with acetone. Some will, and it's the quickest thing to take off a decal, because it will wipe it right off. You can soak it on a rag and then just wipe on it, and it'll wipe the decal right off. The acetone will. That will it will definitely take it off. You just have to be careful on the background paint. That's all. It's just I get a little impatient with with using other methods like microsol and microset or solvaset, because sometimes it takes forever and ever, and you have to scrub on it, and the paint comes off anyway. And a lot of companies kind of imprint it, and it leaves the shadow of the imprint. So if the background paint comes off, it's no big deal to me. I just mask it off and mask off a panel and repaint it the same color. So that doesn't bother me. If it doesn't bother you, go ahead and use acetone. But if there's another spot, you can try it on first. And it depends on the brand. Like I said, it's when I called Katie to ask them how to remove their decals, they recommended acetone because they're printed on with their ink print. So they told me to use acetone to take them off. So, and what else worked really well with acetone? I think the Atherns seem to. I can't remember. There was another brand. The Atlas ones seem to work real well. So it's luck of the draw with acetone or with anything else because, like I said, using the other methods, using alcohol or using Solvaset, I've had it take off the paint too because I had to scrub so hard to get the decal off. So because it just didn't work real well. The Proto 2Ks. I don't think I've tried it on a Proto 2K. Maybe there's a bit of overspray underneath the shell or something. If there is, try it on that and see if it lifts off the paint, if it's too aggressive. I say a lot of them, no matter what you do, they end up leaving a shadowed imprint where the old number was. So I usually have to sand it and repaint it anyway. So it's just, that's, like I said, it's just kind of luck. Like I said, I've done a couple in locomotives and just wiped off the numbers with acetone, and they were beautiful. And then I've done some, the acetone didn't work great. It took off some of the paint, and some of them, the alcohol and the Solvaset, the same thing. It depends on the paint, and it depends on how the lettering is put on. Yeah, that's right. If it takes off some of the paint, just say it's weathered. There you go. So it looks like my number boards have dried completely. There's the other one. So all I got to do, like I said, I've got to clear coat it and then put acetate over the top of it, and then I'll be ready to install it. I'm glad I got the decoder in already. So I've been doing, that's what I've been doing the last few days, is trying to get some engines back up and running I've had problems with. So I've gotten 3, 4, I've gotten 2 decoder installs and then fixed 2 engines. So see you, Dragon Lover, take it easy. So anyway, how long have we been on this? An hour and 25 minutes? Really? Yeah, I tried to use tape and it didn't make a difference. Didn't make a bit of difference. In fact, I tried it like 2 or 3 times and I couldn't. I still think it makes a difference in the background paint and how it's imprinted. is how it makes a difference. It's what makes a difference, and it just depends on that. Some things it might work fine. What I was doing, it didn't work on. So, and I can't remember what engine I was doing that on. But try it. I mean, it might work. Like I said, it depends. Just depends on how it's put on. If you leave the little imprint on there anyway, I've got to sand and paint it in. I did it to, I take that back. I did it on a Proto 2000, John. You were asking about that earlier. I did it on it wasn't one of the fancy ones. It was one without sound and all. But once again, too, it's white paint. So when I did it to a KCS white engine, it did take some of the background off, but with the acetone, but it left such a deep imprint where it was printed that I have to sand it and repaint it anyway. So, and I'm just going to tape off the little panel below the cab and paint it white. I've got a white that matches pretty well. So once I do it, it's gonna, and once I weather it, you'll never be able to tell the difference anyway. So. What engines was giving me trouble? I had a couple Atlases that were giving me trouble. One, I just put a keep alive in it and it's fine. It wouldn't really give me trouble. I just wanted to put a keep alive. The other was another Atlas. The back trucks weren't getting any power and I couldn't figure out why. So I soldered. They had the wires to the back trucks clipped on with those little black clips that Atlas uses, and I soldered them, and it made no difference whatsoever. So then I was figuring, well, what's wrong? So it's funny. I said, well, maybe somehow on the decoder board it's not making good contact. So all I did was I remelted the solder on my decoder board where the back truck's connected to the decoder board. And once I did that, it worked fine. I don't know why. They were still on there with the solder before I did that. But once I remelted the solder, I guess they made good contact, and then that was it. Now I've got power to the back truck. So weird. It's just when you're working with electronics, weird stuff happens. So. Yeah, that's right. Weathering does, and different. Yeah, that's probably what it was, cold solder joints or something. So once I resoldered it. Well, Shay, I just had a BLI switcher that I sent back to them 5 times. Now it works great now, finally, after the 5th time, but it was a nightmare. Something would happen different every time I would send it to them. They had it more than me. But now it works well, so I'm okay. So weathering is, yes, and real locomotives, different panels on the locomotive will weather at different rates depending on the material, the primer, what paint's behind them, all that kind of stuff. So where they are on the locomotive, So you're right. A slightly different change in color isn't going to make a bit of difference, especially after you weather it. So Steve says, what's the number code railroads use for a break or derailment? I have no idea. I didn't know they did. Yeah, CP, that's right. And John, you're right. New old stock or used stuff, installing decoders, you're right. Every one of them's different. I even find among the Proto 2000s, depending on what it is, they've got different drives in them. And one thing I have found with the Proto 2000, the last one I did, and I've got another one that I've got to fix, is there's two wires, one to the front truck, one to the back truck, and they're supposed to power either side. And I'm like, well, that's not right. So they run better if you actually have four wires, um, the front and back trucks powered. So that's even with a keep alive in them, you've got to power the front and the back trucks both. Well, Shay, the Paragon 4 is already come out because that's what they put. That's one of the problems with my new engine is that it was just dying over every switch, and it shouldn't have, because I have another BLI switcher that was fine over the switches, but this last one was dying on each switch. So they put a brand new sound decoder in it, the Paragon 4, with the onboard keep alives, and it's great. Yeah, James, the Proto 2000 gears have always had issues. The original ones, I've always replaced it if I get a Proto 2000. Whether I see a crack or not in the gear, I replace it. So. And Dave, yes, I do have a switcher from BLI that has had no problems. So go figure. So it's just luck of the draw, I guess, with BLI. So once they run right, though, they're nice. I like them. I like their sound. Some people don't like the sound in them. I do, but so I don't have any problem with that. And the new sound decoders that are in them with the onboard keep alives in a switcher, that's incredible to me. So. Yeah, but then again, I've got an Atlas switcher that has no keep alive in it, and I've had zero problems with it. I've just got a decoder, no keep alive, and it runs over every switch I have without dying. So I don't. I do like Atlas stuff, but a lot of Atlas stuff are Kato drives. So. I have so Split Rock. I have 2 B units already. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 A units, and I've got 2 B units. One's powered, one's a dummy, and the powered one I have is probably the only powered one I will have. The rest of them will just be dummies. I'll always double header them though. So I'm sorry, I'll have 5 A units. I will always double header my F units. So if I put a dummy in between them, nobody's going to know the difference. Unless maybe if Jason is still on here or somebody else, Is there a sound decoder you can get where you don't have to have a motor in it? Can I get a sound decoder with a prime mover that doesn't do anything else? Yeah, they did turn their B units into slugs eventually, and their A units. If in fact they ran them up through the 90s as slugs, but no, you're right. Technically, no, my B units are not going to be slugs. They're actually booster units. So sure thing, John. You take care. Um, yeah, but do they have the sound decoders that you go in the sound cars? Do they have prime movers on them that will actually? So Wilmer, on a railroad, you have slugs that are attached to an engine. Okay, and slugs aren't the exact same as a booster unit like a B unit is. So um, it has trucks with traction motors on it, but can't generate its own power. So like a prime mover does. Um, in a regular B unit, it's got its own prime mover, and a slug only has the traction motors, and so that's the difference between a slug and a booster unit or a B unit. So yeah, Dave, I know I could use a loco decoder without a motor, but I that's the problem. I didn't want to go to the expense of having to put a full decoder into a dummy unit. So that's why I was wondering if there's something that was just prime mover sound, that was a little bit cheaper than buying a full sound decoder. Oh, Martin, you have to be a joker. Yes, a snail with no shell is a slug. Good night, James. So there's Jason, the train freak. He would know for sure. Does Soundtracks, Jason? Does it sell any sound decoders with prime movers that aren't full decoders? Like if you wanted to put one in a dummy unit. Well, that's what I'm asking. I don't know if their sound cars have prime mover sounds. Marty's, yeah. Hmm. I wonder though if it has a prime mover sound to it. I don't know. Well, anyway, does anybody have anything else they want to talk about? Okay, do that, Jason. I appreciate it. Or maybe they could come out with one, say for dummy B units, that kind of stuff. Um, what do people like to see on live streams? Well, you guys tell me. What do you like to see on live streams? That's a good quick discussion for us to end on. What do you like to see on live streams? Do they like watching paint dry? I know Steve does. Steve 87th loves to watch paint dry. But what does everybody else like? Explosion fires, chairs collapsing, animals doing things. I should have got my cats out here and had them do tricks. That's right. Glue drying is good too. Yes. Oh, well, there's Nancy. How are you doing? Do I have paint on me? No, I don't have any more paint on me. Sorry. Grass growing. Well, tonight was decal drying. Yes, it was. So the decals are just about dry and they're ready for the gloss coat. I'm not going to do that on camera because I'm going to go outside and spray that. But layout operations, that's good. Yeah, that's why I did a couple. Um, this is good. I need some good ideas too because I want to know what you guys want to see, like when on track Tuesday, like when I do it. Because I don't want to run out of ideas or do what I want to do, and everybody goes, "Ew, I don't want to watch that again." But yeah, tell me, sound decoder speakers under when a train pulls into the crew will add the decoder number to the consist, then the noise will come. Oh, that's great. I don't know if y'all need to see any sound decoder installations. I know there's a bunch out there, and unfortunately, I just got done with a couple, so I'm not going to have any more to do for a while until I can scrape up another $100 to buy another sound decoder. Yeah, well, CP, I like when I did my last live stream, I did it at rail level on purpose. So I don't know. I just thought it would be different. I mean, I could when I do operations again, I could definitely do it from a higher level on my tripod. But and Wilmer says airbrushing, absolutely. I do have some airbrushing I need to do, but I've got to get some details on the engine before I airbrush it. So if I get those details done before my next, which will be a week and a half from now, my next show, I will definitely do airbrushing live and in color. So, a sound decoder install in N-Scale. DES, how's it going? Um, wow. Uh, I have never done a sound decoder install and in scale, and I don't know if I want to because you guys that can do that kind of stuff are a lot more talented than me. Um, I just don't have the hands and the vision to do that. I know a lot of you still do, but like Wilmer complains, I've got big sausage fingers too, and and my hands aren't as steady as they were used to be. So, what industries do I have on my layout? I have I have an oil supplier, a small oil supplier, a um, a cotton compress warehouse. Um, I have a I have a lumber yard, or will. Some of these aren't on there yet. um, a couple flat background buildings like a shipping company and things like that, a trucking company. I've got, but my main ones are a paper mill with a wood yard, a cement plant, cement and asphalt, uh, a refinery, a plywood plant, a oil field equipment plant, um, a grain elevator, and that's my main ones. A cotton compress will usually receive box cars for the most part. Um, that's what they ship cotton in for the most part, with box cars. You might see some baled cotton on a flat car, but Shay, no, to be honest with you, I haven't even worked on my lift gate. Yeah, I don't blame you, Randall. I haven't even worked on my lift gate. I have been involved in getting so much other stuff done, getting my switches replaced, getting my decoders in, um, that kind of stuff that I haven't worked on it because I'm gonna do I'm gonna do something different at the north end of my yard. I am going to move a switch up a little bit, and then I'm going to start out of my yard. I'm going to do about a 2% grade to get to a bridge to cross the river. So, and underneath that's going to be a road, so it's going to be an overpass. So that's I'm just going to change that end up a little bit. So I haven't even thought about the lift gate for a while. So so Randall, yeah, I agree. This one of the decoders I just put in my Athearn SD40 was a TCS, and I really liked it because if you wanted to, the Athearn Ready to Run still have bulbs in them, or at least the older ones did. I think the latest ones are coming out with LEDs, but the Ready to Run ones had bulbs in them. And this last sound decoder I got from TCS, you could actually attach the bulbs to it. You could do bulbs or LEDs. Had different pads to solder them to, and then, but it just clipped on to where the light board came off of the other one. So yeah, that was pretty easy. So very little soldering. If you're worried about soldering on an actual circuit board, get the generic decoders. Both TCS has them, Soundtrax has them. They're just a wire harness out of them. And then that way you can just solder wires together instead of actually soldering on a circuit board, if you're a little bit unsure about how to do that, because soldering and unsoldering wires is a lot easier. Yeah. Yeah, Martin, I'll make it just high enough so trailers get stuck underneath the overpass. That's the way to do it. I'll make sure not to have any warning signs like the like the height of the overpass warning sign on it, the clearance sign, so nobody knows what it really is. This the one I'm doing wasn't very high anyway, the prototype that I'm modeling it after. So it was about 11 or 12 foot overpass. So. Yeah. I'll have Roy's truck on my layout, so it gets, and I'll show it stuck under my my overpass. I've seen trucks get stuck under overpasses. Of course, back in the 70s, trucks weren't quite as high as they are now, unless you had a load that was really high on your truck. But so you wouldn't, so you didn't, overpasses weren't quite as tall as they are now. Some of them are still problems, and some of them places trucks can't go. So. 10'6", all right. Roy drives a flatbed. That means I can make it really low. And get the top of his cab stuck underneath it. $13.6. 13 feet and 6 inches. Is that a minimum now, or? In both split rock, they were regular end plug door types. And of course, they really didn't need the DF type loaders on them because it was cotton bales. So just plain old 40-foot box cars were fine. Or plug doors were fine too. It just didn't really matter for cotton. I don't know if they went any bigger than 50 foot as far as shipping. I mean, I guess they could have. I mean, there were a lot of 60-foot box cars around back in the 70s, but I don't know about shipping cotton if they ever went anything that large. $13.6 is standard clearance for some ones. Okay. Yeah, my air is 1976. So. So it was, like I said, I know they use both 40 and 50 foot. Did they use anything larger? I don't know. It's another one of those commodities that's not super heavy. So it's So is it? Did they have to go up to 60 feet to get a lot? I don't know. Just not sure. 76 was a great year, the bicentennial, and that's the main reason I modeled it that year is so I could paint these. That's the main reason I started modeling that year. So plus I remember, I remember it pretty well as far as the railroad stuff. 76, my the school I was in sat right next to KCS tracks. So even at school, I saw the trains coming through every day, and just I just wish I'd had a camera. Man, the stuff I saw was just incredible. And if I had a camera like I have now, a movie camera with sound and all, it would have just been, oh, how fantastic would that have been? Really? Lasted until 2009. That's incredible. Yeah. So predominantly on KCS in 76, KCS had no Jeep 40s in 76. The predominant power was actually SD 40s. They had by the end of 76, they had right around 70 SD 40s. They had still had a lot of. They had Jeep 7s. They had 12 Jeep 7s, 4 Jeep 9s, 10 Jeep 38s. The SD 40s, like I said, they have close to 70 of them. F units, they had 9 A units and 5 B units, I think, something like that. Still left, and then of course a bunch of NW2s and SW7s for switching, and some SW1500s, and also some MP15s. They had 4 MP15s. So. Yeah, KCS had a lot of SD40s. In fact, they were the first to buy the Dash 2, I think. First railroad to buy the Dash 2. But that was their predominant power, were SD40s. They did have 38s, so they started buying those about 69, I think. 69 or 70. And then, they got some Jeep 40s in right around 1980. They got some Jeep 40s. How do I remember all that? Just because I've stared at it so much doing research. That's how I remember it all. Because when you're a rivet counter, Wilmer, you have to remember it. That's the so I got to make sure when I number my locomotives that they've got the correct numbers on them. So I don't know. It might have been BN, but I think KCS was either the SD40s or the Dash 2s that KCS got the first ones. I can't. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe it was just the SD40s. Now KCS was the first to get the SD40X. I think they had 4 of them. Was it the X or was it the SD50? Something like that. I don't know, but they got those in 79 or 80 also. Yeah, it's funny. By 80, all of their SD40s were starting to get old. Their SD40s, they started buying those in 67. That's right, Split Rock. That's true. If we like something, we retain it. That's actually true. It's funny. KCS was almost completely EMD up until recently, up until modern, like a 2000. They were they had a couple Alcos. They had a couple Fairbanks Morse engines, but the rest were all EMD. So it's kind of funny. I don't know why all of a sudden they switched to people being noisy. All of a sudden they switched to GE locomotives. I don't know why. So we're at 2 hours. I think I'm going to end this because I mean I've really enjoyed the talk and everything, but you guys are probably getting bored. So but I have extremely enjoyed this. So aside from doing the decals, getting something done, I mean it's been a good talk. So good questions and good help. Yeah, they had 4 MP15s, and I think they still have them. So, they're DCs, and I only have one. I only have one MP15. Atlas actually made some a few years back, and I've got one of them. So you guys take it easy. Thanks for joining me tonight. I glad y'all were here. I don't know, Jason. Actually, before I go, thanks, Jason. Thanks, Split Rock. Jason, I might not be doing anything. My wife plans on going home if she can, depending on the goofy rules that are in place. She's from Canada, so whatever happens there, so I might be a bachelor on August 25th for a whole month. So who knows? So yeah, give me a call or something afterwards. We'll talk about it. All right. AC-44 dead on hours, waiting for a cab ride with a relief crew. Am I right? All right. That's right. It absolutely will be. The big boy will be in Jefferson, Texas. So it's going to, it'll have a 30-minute stop there. I'll probably have to go up that way with my camera. Get some video of it. All right, guys, will you take it easy? I will. And I will see you next time. And in the longest, it'll be a week and a half because I'll be doing On Track Tuesday. This Tuesday is Redbird Tony, so make sure you join him. And then the week after that, I'm going to be doing it. So, well, I'll see you there, Jason. I'll have a manifest ready for you on my railroad. So, You guys take care, and we will talk to you next time.